Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Portsmouth Port and Industrial Commission meeting for Tuesday, January 28th, 2025. Happy New Year.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair. Ms. Allen.
Present.
Mr. Foster is absent. Mr. Hanson.
Present.
Ms. McSwain is absent. Mr. Peterman is also absent. Mr. Rice.
Present.
And Ms. Barham.
Present.
Chair, we do have a quorum.
Thank you. Yeah, before you, the minutes of the October 22nd, 2024 regular meeting. I'll need a motion in a second.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion in a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Barham.
Yes.
Foster is absent. Mr. Hanson.
Yes.
McSwain is absent. Mr. Rice.
Yes.
And Ms. Allen.
Yeah,
Chair, the item is adopted by a vote of 4-0.
thank you. Okay, we will have our financial or FY24 audit presentation and followed by our quarterly financial report, December 2024. Good morning, Ms. Pope.
Good morning.
Here, we're going to take just a moment to transition to our remote attendees, which are representatives from the city's auditing firm, Clifton Larson Allen. Ms. Pope, I'm going to ask for you to introduce the team and who's attending today.
Good morning, everybody, again. Today, our auditors, Clifton Larson Allen, will be presenting our audited financial report from June 30th, 2024. I believe in July, I gave the unaudited presentation. So today we have Max and Sherry, and I'll hand it over to them.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time this morning. I'm Sherry Amos. I'm a principal with CLA to give you the audit results for fiscal year 2024. Consistent with probably the past 3 or 4 years, we did issue a qualified opinion on the financials of PPIC related to the land held for resale, as we were not able to obtain sufficient audit evidence over the valuation of that account. Management values that at the acquisition price plus improvements and has not obtained an independent appraisal for the past several years, which was the nature for the disclaimer of our opinion on that. Other than the land held for resale, we didn't have any issues or note any material inconsistencies with any of the other amounts within the financials. So other than land held for resale, everything else was a clean opinion from our perspective. There were no new accounting policies that were implemented in the current year. It was kind of a quiet year from that perspective, which is always nice when accounting guidance is not applicable for the year. We did not have any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies in internal control, and we didn't have any management letter comments either. There were no uncorrected or corrected misstatements in the information provided by management as a result of our audit procedures. We were informed that management did not consult with other accountants, and we didn't have any difficulties either with throughout the audit or any disagreements with management in any of the way the accounts were handled or the accounting structure for PPIC. So very consistent audit results with the past year. I'll be glad to take any questions you might have.
Anyone have any questions? Comments or concerns? Hearing none. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you. We appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Pope.
We do have transitioning back to the PowerPoint here. Chair, we do have a financial report for the quarter ending December 31st.
Yes.
2024, and it looks like Mr. Griffin has that on the overhead here. If we could just zoom in a little bit to make out those line items. So that Ms. Pope can kind of walk us through the current report. There we go.
Okay. And this is the unaudited financial report as of December 31st, 2024, second quarter. As of December 31st, 2024, we had 836,000 in cash in the bank, 856,000 grants receivable. The two Burton's Points property valued at 332,000 with a total asset value of around 2 million. For liabilities, we had 1 million in liabilities, and our net position was 965,000 with a total increase from last year of $8,153. This financial report right here is our statement of revenues, expenses, and change in that position. So far, we haven't had any operating revenues come in this year, which are normally our IRA bonds. We had 3,575 in operating expenses. And so far, we have accumulated $11,728 in interest income. Again, our net position is 965,000 with the increase of 8,153. This slide right here is our year-to-date budget report. We show our final budget, the activity for the year, any type of encumbrances we have, and our remaining budget for the year. This right here is our interest report that just shows our monthly interest as well as our total interest earned, which again is 11,773. This right here is our AR report, which shows the remaining grants that we have. Again, from the first report, our balance sheet, we have 856,000 worth of grants that we also will receive as well as pay out. Any questions?
The maintenance grounds portion. Here, that was for Gordon, 20.
Yes, correct. The maintenance grounds expenses primarily landscaping, and that applies to the Portsmouth Point Road property.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Falk, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, on to old business, Port of Virginia.
Yes, good
Morning,
morning.
Chris, how are you?
Good, Ms. Allen. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. Morning, everyone. Appreciate the opportunity to come before the PBIC and give an update on activities taking place at the Port of Virginia. First, just a quick high-level recap. Calendar year 24, we had a great year at the port. In fact, really across the board, we saw volume growth, both from a container TEU perspective, and of course, as it relates to tonnage and break bulk, which is also seeing significant growth associated with activity taking place at Portsmouth Marine Terminal. So overall, about 7.2% growth in 24 over calendar year 23. Over at VIG, you may have noticed over at Virginia National Gateway in Portsmouth, the arrival of 4 new ship-to-shore cranes. That's since probably the last time a Port of Virginia representative sat here. That has taken place, and so we're in the process of commissioning those 4 new cranes. Those are the big cranes actually on the berth, on the water, that offload and load the containers from the vessels. Really, the benefit we're going to gain here is the ability to obviously work the larger vessels that are out there on the ocean in the water. And now we'll have really 2 very capable ultra large container berths there at VIG. And so again, that is it's an extreme advantage for the Port of Virginia and for that particular terminal as we go out to the marketplace to earn new business and to be able to provide our customers best in class service. Obviously, a lot going on at PMT. Peter, I can defer to you because it's an exciting week. I mean, there is something happening from a cargo perspective. And I don't know if you want to touch on the top side.
Sure, yeah. I came in here and blasted off about it immediately as soon as I got here because I was excited to see the ship as I was driving by this morning. We have the big lift Baffin docked O100 this morning, delivering topside jackets, which is the superstructure supporting the substations. So and only delivering one of them. There'll be a total, I think, of 4 going in, right? Yeah. So this is sort of the next phase of the project, right? So we spent all drilling season, as we say, with when the whales are not moving, it's their drilling season. We spent all drilling season last spring and summer, putting in monopiles. They put in 76. They got the other half to go this drilling season. They also put in pin piles, which are the under the water superstructure supporting the topside jackets. So that is sort of the next phase. You see the big tall yellow items. Those are the transition pieces. On top of those will be the tower sections of the turbines, then the nacelles, then the blades. So we are about, I would say, the latter half of the first third of the project through, and we're generally on schedule or ahead. Yeah, it's exciting stuff.
And what's really amazing, and again, this is more for just the harbor, and we're the Portsmouth Port Industrial Commission, so we're port people, right? It's 4,400 tons, I believe, the actual weight of this transformer, pretty much that's coming onto PMT. I don't know that we've ever lifted or moved, but moved something of that size.
It's astronomically large. So most of the pieces are put together or assembled. This is a unit that's moving as a unit, similar. I mean, in scale to a container crane, really, right? I mean, moving it inshore is a big job.
So pretty exciting, and it's something again. We're used to seeing PMT. We're used to now seeing the cadence that's taking place over there with these yellow pieces and monopiles, but globally, is still recognized as being pretty significant in putting Portsmouth and this harbor on the map of being proficient and capable of moving the largest things out there in the world. So that's pretty exciting. And then finally, I just want to thank City Council, staff, and the PPIC for ongoing support. There have been a couple projects that are associated, sort of ancillary services to what we do at the port around the stuffing and filling of containers, empty containers, and converting them to exports. And so both at 1040 Virginia Avenue and 1 Harper Avenue, there's been tremendous movement from companies that are going to be making investments here in the city of Portsmouth, hiring citizens of Portsmouth, and creating job opportunities tied back to the port. So I just wanted to give my thanks to everyone who participated and been very open to discussions. And I think I've seen firsthand the commitment for some of these companies, like the DeLong company there on 1 Harper Avenue, family-owned business that's committed to putting up a good operation, high quality, making sure that the residents of Portsmouth have opportunities to grow professionally in the supply chain space. So really exciting to see what's going to happen here in this next 12 months associated with both of those projects. So with that, I'm going to end my comments, but happy to answer any questions if there's any from the board.
Any questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our next old business item is 06th Street and 1603 7th Street.
Thank you, Chair, and Chris, thank you for your comments and updates on all the exciting things happening with the Port of Virginia. But we do have some local activities that we wanted to cover as well. And the first is 06th Street, 1603 7th Street. These are the properties that are being transferred by the Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing Authority to the PPIC for marketing for redevelopment. So most recently, as I believe you're aware, there was a street vacation requirement that needed to occur. That was approved by the City Council last year. So that street, the right of way, which you can kind of see bisecting the corner of the property there on the overhead, that has been vacated. We have also recorded a new subdivision plat to allow for the combination of the 2 parcels in that portion of the former right of way. So we have approximately just over 2 acre property now, and we are in the process of doing the transfer and legal documents required for that with the housing authority. After which we'll begin the process of marketing the property.
Okay. And Going on to the phone service committee grant at 10:40.
Yeah, so the Port Host Community Grant is, as you're quite aware, has been something that we have utilized since its inception, 2020. I think the first year we received a grant award. We have another project where we submitted an application for the Port Host program, which went in October. I am pleased to report that we were successful in our application. And there is I think a printout of the governor's announcement at your place at the table. We received an $800,000 award through the Port Host grant program. It's our second largest award yet, in support of the project at 1040 Virginia Avenue, which Mr. Gullickson was just mentioning. In his remarks, this is the location of the Norfolk Portsmouth Beltline Railroad rail yard in the Port Norfolk community. And the Beltline has partnered with Raymont Logistics, Canadian-based firm, to construct a transloading facility handling agricultural commodities, essentially transloading them from rail car to containers for export through the Port of Virginia. And it's a two-phase project. The grant will assist with the first phase, some of their associated expenses with relocating rail, as well as the development of the new transloading. Second phase will occur in the coming years that will have additional equipment and facilities being developed. It's about a $56 million investment total. You can see here the schedule on the overhead. We're well into that here. Grant award was made in December, and we're now just awaiting the performance agreement. After which the recipient, which is Beltline Railroad, will have 18 months to complete the project. I think they'll be much quicker than that, but you can see the schedule here. So really excited about this. It's I think for Portsmouth, it is a big project. It's a big project for the region, and I believe for the port as well. To Chris's comments in being a host community for the port and local export sectors. So happy to answer any questions you might have, but this is definitely a win in the TPIC's list of.
Any questions? Councilman?
So these transload facilities, this one and one Harper, are the only transload facilities that are serving the port, or are there places inland that do this and put the material into containers and then?
That's a great question. Yeah, so the answer is both, because you're right, where there's excess empty containers, the export community is trying to find a synergy to, obviously fill and move them back overseas. So to that point, yes, in places like Chicago, in Columbus, in Detroit, in Kansas City, there are similar type operations that exist, and having close to the coastline, obviously, a heavy concentration of containers here. And so being able to then, leverage again the rail connectivity and bringing in the unit trains, find synergy here at the port and kind of doing the same activity. When we look at our footprint at Port of Virginia, we do host transload operation in Richmond at our Richmond Marine Terminal. Schooler Grain, another big player just like DeLong and Raymont, runs a facility there. Again, capitalizing on the fact that you have a stock of empty containers that can be converted to exports.
I have heard the focus was primarily agricultural products.
Correct, but if you look at the portfolio for Raymont, they have a full scope of commodities that they handle.
Gotcha.
Initial description and understanding of both projects are tied to the export of grains.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you. New business, the CFX DeLong Rail Transloading Facility at 1 Harper Avenue.
Yes, Chair. So a really similar conversation here, but with a different operator, which is the DeLong Company out of Wisconsin. The City Council has just supported the application to a state rail access grant program for supporting this project as well. So not a port host grant, but another program through the Virginia Department of Rail and Public Transportation. But DeLong is also looking to establish a transloading facility. This is at the CSX Intermodal Yard, just south of Portsmouth Marine Terminal, Harper Avenue. And it's been dormant for a few years. They are looking to partner with DeLong to have them come in and build a very similar facility. Again, primary focus is transloading of agricultural commodities. But I think in both cases, we've also heard there's the ability to handle other product. Raymond has mentioned pelletized plastics as well for the manufacturing industry being one area that they can help to move from rail to container for export also. So again, just a big opportunity, I believe, for the city here and certainly for the Port of Virginia. You can see on the overhead the location of the project. There on Harper Avenue, there are some rail improvements that exist. Those are going to be expanded to serve the new facility. I believe we have another slide that may show a little bit closer detail where that will be, the relocation of the rail lines. The transloading facility itself, I think we've got a rendering of those improvements. You can see there are some elevators, storage silos that will be constructed on the property. About a $26 million investment. They'll be creating about 15 direct jobs as a result of the project, and of course all the ancillary activities that will be occurring. So really excited to have both of these in our community. I think it really does kind of put Portsmouth on the map for one more additional port-centric use here in the region. And I don't think you can find a place any closer to the Port of Virginia than where we are here on Harper Avenue and over on Virginia Avenue as well.
A question, if I may?
Sure.
Do we know yet? I would assume this is a truck in stuffing out to the port for export, yes?
How
How the material gets in and then.
rail
Rail
in, and then containers, being trucked in.
Gotcha. Yeah, sorry, that was an obvious, yeah.
I mean,
Really?
I'll add this facility, the capability, I bring in a unit train, into that CSX facility.
So it's pure rail.
In.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Any further questions? Okay, we are in need of a FY26 PPIC budget committee. Putting that out there, I know our treasurer is not present, but please keep that on your radar. If there's anyone that's currently here that would like to serve on that, please let me know. Next up, the City Council PPIC Joint Retreat, July 7th, 2025.
Yes, Chair. The city manager has identified a date of July 7th for a joint meeting of the City Council and PPIC. This is a date that has been proposed. Would be at a Monday work session at 5:30 p.m. It's my understanding, and we are looking for confirmation that this date works for the PPIC commissioners. We will obviously need to confirm that with the city manager and city council, but this is the date that has been proposed. Would be working in advance of that to come up with an agenda, some topics for that meeting. But this is an effort of the city council and city manager to ensure that there's collaboration between the two bodies.
Understood.
So if that date does work for the greater group, then we would like to acknowledge that and confirm it with the city manager. If you could just advise.
Can we send out a doodle poll?
We
for
can
other
we can
commissioners?
certainly do an attendance poll. Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. PPIC annual retreat. We will be sending out a poll as well for potential dates for that. So we'll keep your eyes out for that email. And there is a need for us to go into a closed meeting, Commissioner Rice.
I move to go into a closed meeting for the purpose of discussing the position of real property. No discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position of negotiating strategy of the public body, specifically regarding the disposition of 3920 and 3930 Burns Point Road.
You have a motion. May I get a second?
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bayram,
Yes.
Mr. Hanson,
Yes.
Mr. Rice,
Yes.
and Miss Allen.
Yes.
Chair, the item is approved by a vote of 4-0. We're now in closed meeting.
I hereby move that each commissioner certified out to the best of his or her knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened, were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting just concluded.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bayram,
Yes.
Mr. Hanson,
Yes.
Mr. Rice,
Yes.
and Miss Allen.
Yes.
Chair, the item is adopted by a vote of 4-0. We're now in an open meeting.
Thank you. Discussion on, our next topic is 3920, 3930 Burton's Point Road. We need a motion to amend the purchase agreement to extend the inspection period to September 30th, 2025 to purchase 3920, 3930 Burton's Point Road.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bayram,
Yes.
Mr. Hanson,
Yes.
Mr. Rice,
Yes.
and Miss Allen.
Yeah,
Chair, the item is approved by a vote of 4-0.
thank you. Were there any items submitted by commissioners? I did not receive any.
I do, under report backs, I do have an update for the group.
But no items submitted.
Oh, I'm sorry, no items submitted by Commissioner for receipt.
Okay. Report backs.
Thank you. So one item just to cover, this is just a light reminder. You should have each received an email from the city clerk, Ms. Deborah White, about your annual financial disclosure form,
Yeah.
which is due to the clerk no later than February 3rd. That's
February 1st.
I believe it's the 3rd. We'll verify that. We, I think, have resent the email. If you need it again, we're happy to forward it again. But it's a form document that needs to be completed, and a hard copy does have to get returned to Ms. White. And we'll verify that February 3rd date. If you need any assistance in getting that hard copy, the clerk's office over at City Hall, we're happy to help with that. You can drop it off here and we'll hand deliver it on your behalf. There is a penalty if you miss that deadline. I believe it's a $250 fee, so you don't hit that if you can avoid it. But please let us know if you need any help completing and submitting that. Or if you need the form, let us know. We can help with you. But just a friendly reminder.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Yeah, I have a clarifying question. Perhaps I need to pose it to Mr. Goldson at another meeting. My question earlier regarding truck traffic with these rail transload facilities is commodity coming in by rail, we stuff containers, that then has to go to the export facility. I would assume that's being drayed by truck. And the question is traffic. The question is, changing street structure to handle truck traffic. That was sort of the direction I was going. I apologize for not making that clearer, but maybe we can pose it in another meeting.
I can reach out to Mr. Gullickson and see if he has any information about where they're going to transit local roadways as they're going to Virginia International Gateway or NIT.
Right.
I think with respect to their location, I won't speak to specifics, but
Sure.
They are both immediately adjacent to the Western
Right.
Freeway, so they have immediate access to that roadway, and then obviously direct to VIG and then across through the tunnel there. Crazy. So what we have been told is that traffic volumes are consistent with the prior uses of the rail yards in
Understood.
this case. So But we can get some specifics about where they're going to be going now. That will be.
Sure.
It's a great
That's a
question.
good question.
It's come up before, I can.
Anything else for the good of the group? Hearing none, we are adjourned.